Anyone who's had an awakening experience, or anyone who feels called towards this path, their real aim is to accumulate prana. Prana means energy. This prana is going to help us gain mastery of the mind, so important, right? And mastery over our energies, something that modern science is barely touching the surface of, but that the yogis have known about for years. See, with hard work and consistent practice, these energies will begin to enliven inside of ourselves. This is our aim. A firework awakening, though, is a big blast of Shakti in one hit. Now, Shakti means power or energy, a big blast of energy, a big blast of power through the system. A gradual awakening is somebody who's doing their sadhana and slowly they're accumulating their prana in the systems through consistent practice. Now, by the end of the video, I endeavour to summarise these two so you can put yourself into a category, hopefully, and we're going to try and determine which one's better, if there is one that's better. See, if we have some kind of firework awakening experience, it can go one of two ways. Number one, you think you are hot stuff. After all of this energy is opened up inside of you, it kind of feels like life has chosen you. And in a way, it has, but taken too far, this can lead to a messiah complex. But please understand, a big blast of Shakti in the system is not a sign of massive spiritual success. Rather, it's an opportunity, a portal, a vision of what your life can be like if you do the work. The second way a firework awakening can go for some people, I see this a lot with the clients I work with, is you get very scared very quickly. Because this newfound energy inside of you can sometimes do some strange and odd things. See, I'm Jamie. I run the yogic tradition, which is a school for higher learning and spiritual development. And in my experience with working with aspirants over the years, these are kind of the two cases we see most often. If you're going through these experiences and you do want some guidance, you don't have to do it alone. And in fact, we don't recommend you do it alone at all. None of the gurus, none of the greats that went before us ever did it alone. They sought out a teacher. So if you want to do it together, we can. And you can apply for a 6-month intensive down below. But back to the video. See, actually, a gradual awakening can be a faster path because somebody who has a firework awakening thinks that they've got it all done. You know, a big blast of Shakti, some realizations, some downloads come into the system, and boy, is our ego grabbing hold of it, you know. But my word, are they in for a surprise, because as their prana from that blast begins to diminish, which it will, they'll be left with nothing but a nice memory that they'll be attached to, which in terms of life is actually a huge limitation. I only know this from personal experience, so don't worry, I'm not judging, and I'm not speaking from upon high, I'm speaking from lived experience. So we have to get a clear idea, really, about what we want from life. Do we want experiential connection to life, or a mental memory of what could have been? A firework awakening gives you a glimpse of what life can be like, but only if you put the work in. A gradual awakening promises nothing but a consistent growing and deepening into life, so long as you're consistent and that you build momentum with your practices, your sadhana. Sadhana is your daily spiritual practice to bring about the highest aliveness of energy in the system. Both awakenings lead to the same destination. They've got the same goal. One is not higher than the other. One is also not necessarily faster than the other. It all depends on the aspirant's focus, determination, and consistency of their practice, which requires discipline. All practices that we do and use are going to be awakening Kundalini Shakti, especially here at the yogic tradition in the system. So when you start thinking that the only way to awaken Kundalini energy is by doing Kundalini yoga, this is not true. Kundalini yoga is a subsect of Hatha yoga. Hatha yoga is a subsect of the overarching philosophy, which is Tantra. But if you are just engaging in yoga at the local gym classes or just locally with a friend, these things like hot yoga as well, it's very unlikely that you'll be activating much energy in the system, because Western yoga, and even sadly, almost disgracefully, even yoga in India nowadays has become westernized, and it's become physical exercise. And I mean, that has value, yeah, but it's very limited in relationship to spiritual development. But there is a point where a firework awakening and a more gradual awakening meet. They intersect. And that's when the bliss and the crazy experiences that happen due to a big blast of Shakti in the system, or a big blast awakening, begins to subside. If somebody is going through a gradual awakening, something curious will then begin to happen. At a certain point, if he is consistent and determined as a yogi, he'll overtake, in some way, the one who had the firework awakening. Not that it's a race, and not that it really matters, but it is in fact true. So first, our aim should be to build a solid foundation in our system, so that if any big blast of Shakti comes, then the system can handle it, and it doesn't really create any breaks or shunts in the system, because sometimes these can really blow our world apart. And this is why, if you have a big blast of Shakti, you may believe that perhaps you should be permitted into higher classes than a beginner's class or something. And what I would say from my own personal advice is it's good for these people to come in with a beginner's mindset. Otherwise, their experience can quickly become a serious limitation on this path. Really, our aim is to be strong and stable and unconquerable in our consciousness, and this is a real possibility for everyone, and I truly believe that because I've seen it with the clients that we work with. So if you want to take a step into the tradition, get the proven practices and the blueprint for spiritual success, then by all means apply below for our 6-month intensive. But whatever you decide to do, let's wrap up by answering this question that we posed at the start. What awakening type is better? See, whilst it's true you don't have much choice in which path you take, life will decide that for you. I can't really answer which one is better, because the question doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense from a certain perspective. Both will be leading you home. Both will lead to greatness. And if you're ready to start that journey, then we can do it together. But if you're wanting to learn more about the yogic tradition, then you can watch this video here, which is going to show you what you've got wrong about Tantra.